feels more conducive to the outfit, do you think? I'm Will. I am a GP. I guess that would be my job title. I've always liked having a little project on the go. Turns out this project has become a bit bigger than I'd envisioned it, and has taken longer than I thought it would. So the adventure spanned 8 years now, and the first few years or so, I suppose, were just making the initial steps in writing the songs and coming up with a sort of plan. I essentially dreamt up a ridiculous scheme to record an album of songs that I'd written. Each song is recorded with a completely new set of musicians in a completely different location. Eventually that evolved and grew into a book project, an album project, from a perspective of knowing very little about music, completely out of my depth, and discovering all sorts of different musicians from different walks of life in different places and seeing all the different ways that people make music. I think I've always been better at writing, so I can hear music way better than I can play it. But what is my forte, I think, is listening to the song and hearing it build and being able to sort of, I suppose, direct a song. That's why this project's been quite good for me, because it's played to my strengths. I take my time, I get there in the end with it, and I know what I want because I can hear it in my head. I wanted to get a good idea of all the different types of places that people make music, so I basically took every song and recorded each one in a completely different location, completely different studio, which ended up meaning I was sort of travelling around the whole country, essentially, in the end. So it was a good opportunity to go to 11 different places and see 11 different ways in which to record a song. I'm going to be pretty exposed here because I don't know whether they know that I'm not a pro. I can play a few songs on the guitar, but yeah, so I felt like I was going to be in a position where they were going to be like, this guy is wasting our time a little bit here, maybe. So I was quite intimidated about that. I felt like I was a complete imposter, basically all the time, because at the beginning I thought this is completely mad, whereas at the end I thought, okay, it's only slightly mad maybe at this stage. You know, I've got a bit of evidence that it might work. So there's the different ways of recording are hugely varied. I mean, Tom Fuller likes to do a bit, sit on it for a week or two, and then do another bit. Others just bash it out, and you know, neither is the right way, and that's what I've discovered. I think it just depends on what each individual's strengths and weaknesses are, which is one of the things, you know, that's one of the perspectives I've uncovered. There's so many different ways to make music, and so many different people that have their own little set ways.
But the book aspect of it has really grown as well, and that's another one of my strengths. I think anyway, I like writing, and it's been really fun to document everything that's happened and bring it all together. And because I'm self-publishing it all, that's been an experience in itself. You know, formatting the book, which everyone says you shouldn't do yourself, but in the end I sort of had to. Getting everything organised, there's unbelievable amounts of detail that are required for a project like this, getting the artwork together, compiling all the videos, photos, creating a website, which is willhearsey.co.uk.
Like a personal level, I've gained a lot of confidence, I suppose. So I think by putting myself in those positions, I've been guilty of being a bit uptight in the past, and I think I've loosened up a little bit throughout this project. So, you know, by putting myself in these positions, I think I've learned just to take myself a little bit less seriously, and that's been nice, and not really care what people think. Necessarily anything that I thought would be something that other people would listen to. Even I thought, you know, this is just something that I can look back and look back at in years to come and say, oh yeah, I've done that, and I've achieved that, and I've enjoyed listening to it. I've enjoyed doing it. If anyone else likes it, great. But ultimately, it's for me, really.